hope no one was too offended by Titus Andronicus. Shakespeare, as a young writer, seems to have gone through an early blood and guts phase. No doubt, if he were alive today, he'd be in Hollywood working on something like Saw 7. But we shall now move on to explore the genius evident in some of Shakespeare's more mature plays, as we present the dark and brooding tragedy, Othello, the Moor of Venice.
Speak of me as I am, and let me tell you of one who loved, not wisely, but too well. For never was there a story of more woe than this of Othello and his Desdemona.
Kate. Bob, can you have some house lights, please? We left Kate on her own to research this play, and she must have looked up more in the dictionary and thought it was a place where you tie up boats.
Okay, which in this context is totally pea-brained. In the 16th century, Moor was a term used to refer to a person of African descent.
Oh.
Oh. Right.
God, I feel like such a goof!
Okay, so Othello was written for the part of a black man, and we are, I think really tan.
In my
Caucasian
Caucasian bubble.
Caucasian, that's,
I mean, I'm kind of dark skinned, but
basically,
we're honkies.
is what we're trying to say here. So, due to physical limitations, we are unable to perform Othello, the Moor of Venice. So we're going to move on to the next
No,
play.
guys, we can totally do this.
Hey,
No, just because we're white doesn't mean we can't do Othello. It's just, no, I've got an idea.
No, Kate.
It's totally better than both. Trust me, okay? Just kind of join in and feel it, all right? Okay.
Oh,
Here's a story of a brother by the name of Othello. He liked white women and he liked green jello.
yeah, and a punk named Iago made himself a menace because he didn't like Othello, the Moor of Venice.
Othello got married to Desdemona.
And he took off all the wars and he left her alone.
He was a Mona.
A Grona.
He left her alone.
He did it right away.
He didn't tell a Mona.
And Desmond loved Othello because he had a big
Sword.
But he also had a plan that was clever and slick. He was crafty, he was sly. He was sort of a jerk.
He said, I'm gonna shout for more.
How you gonna do it?
Tell us.
Well, then I was trying to fly from
Too damn jealous.
I need a kind of a show. We found a chump sucker by the name of Cassio.
Just don't wanna take a chance.
So Othello gets a bunch of can just make the end while he been out fighting, commanding the troops.
Or Destiny and Cass knocking the boots. Da 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 boots. Da 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 boots.
And people wanna drop the beat.
And bring it back. And he thinks he pulled it off without a hitch.
She doesn't mean I have to go. We met it afterwards.
Who say you big dummy? She weren't no horse. She was commercial. Please, she was commercial too. So why you have to go make a face her glue? It's you. Now what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
What you gonna do with it? And Othello says,
Man, this is getting pretty scary.
Pull out the blade.
holy cow.
He almost got caught, but he finally caught the queen. He loaded up his bags.
To Beverly
Hills, that is Africa. No, sorry, guys. No, I'm thinking we can take a break from all this heavy tragedy stuff and move on to the comedies for a while. Comedies. Now, when it came to the comedy, Shakespeare was a genius at borrowing and adapting plot devices from different theatrical traditions.
That's right. Its influences include the Roman plays of Plautus and Terence, Ovid's Metamorphoses, which are hysterically funny, as well as the Archetype tradition of Commedia dell'arte.
Yeah, basically Shakespeare stole everything he ever wrote.
Stole, kind of a strong word. Distilled, maybe?
Well, then he distilled 3 or 4 of the funniest gimmicks of his time and built them into 16 plays.
You see, Shakespeare was a formula writer. Once he found a device that worked, he used it
Over and over and over again.
So, Mr. Shakespeare, the question we have is this.
Why did you write 16 comedies when you could have written just one?
And in answer to this question, we've taken the liberty of condensing all 16 Shakespeare's comedies into a single play, which we have entitled The Comedy of Two Well-Measured Gentlemen Lost in the Merry Wives of Venice on a Midsummer's 12th Night in Winter.
Or, Similine to King Pericles, the merchant and the tempest of love, as much as you like it for nothing. Or,
The Love Boat Goes to Verona.
comedy?
Comedy.
Comedy. Act 1. A Spanish duke swears an oath of celibacy to turn the rule of his kingdom over to a sadistic and tyrannical twin brother. He learns some fantastical feats of magic and sets out for the golden age of Greece, along with his daughters, 3 beautiful and virginal sets of identical twins. While rounding the hill of Italy, the duke's ship is caught in a terrible tempest, which in its fury casts the duke upon a desert island, along with the loveliest and most virginal of his daughters. This innocent vision of loveliness stumbles into a dark cave, where she is molested by an inhuman green monster, who symbolizes the extreme right wing of the Republican Party.
Act 2. The long-lost children of the Duke's brother, also coincidentally 3 sets of identical twins, have just arrived in Italy, but still possessed of an inner nobility. They are ragged, destitute, penniless, flea-infested shadows of the men they once were, and in the utmost extremity are forced to borrow money from an old Jew, who deceives them into putting down their brains and flour on their loans. Meanwhile, the 6 Italian brothers fall in love with the 6 Italian sisters, 3 of whom are contentious, sharp-tongued little shrews, and the other 3 are submissive, airheaded little bimbos.
Act 3. The shipwrecked identical daughters of the Duke wash up on the shores of Italy, disguise themselves as men, and become pages to the shrews and matchmakers to the Duke's brother's son. They lead all the lovers into a nearby forest, where, on a midsummer's night, a bunch of mischievous fairies squeeze the apple-footed Dukes and her hermaphroditic flower into the shrews' life, causing them to fall in love with their pages, who in turn have fallen in love with the Duke's brother's son. While the queen of the fairies seduces the jackal, and they all kiss a girl, and they like it.
Act 4. The elderly fathers of the Italian sisters, finding their daughters missing, dispatch messages to the pages, telling them to kill any man in the vicinity. However, unable to find them in the forest, the faithful messengers, in a final misguided act of loyalty, deliver the message to each other and kill themselves. Meanwhile, the green monster and the Duke arrive in the forest, disguised as Russians, and for no apparent reason perform a 2-man underwater version of Uncle Vanya.
Act 5. The Duke commands the fairies to fight the wrong. Pages and missiles into a knockdown, drag off like a mud, during which the unit supposedly was ripped off, revealing female virginity. The Duke recognizes his daughters, and the Duke's brother's son recognizes their uncle. The magician turns the monster into a youth who becomes Speaker of the House and